Not what it seems. Today is June 29th. My guy, how are we doing?
Been better. Yanks aren't looking too hot right now. So, it's
Well,
been
neither
tough
are
to
we.
watch, but hey, you're still in first though. So,
We're still in first. Got the Subway Series come this weekend, though. Kind of
yeah,
hype. I
can't
know
wait for
probably
that.
our non-New York listeners are not interested in
Yeah,
that, but I live over in the Bronx, so I know.
yeah.
I think Degrom is missing it. He's going Thursday, but
Is he? Ah, man. Yeah, hopefully for the next Subway Series, we can get Cole versus DeGrom because I was really hoping for that for this one. But
no, absolutely.
maybe something will happen. Maybe he'll like want to do it. He'll ask for an extra day of rest or something. You never know.
Hey, I'm more than happy for that.
Yeah.
Uh, Give me your favorite thing you saw last week.
Well, I mean, some of these things kind of happened right after we recorded last week, but everybody
Always how it is.
saw that pitchers started getting checked for substances. So Max Scherzer was pretty funny.
Yeah, he
Joe
was
Girardi
not
was like
having it.
asking for it. I mean, Scherzer's face, man. We've seen him, man. Like he's crazy when he's pitching. So like he was pissed.
Yeah.
Did you see Sergio Romo? That
Oh
was pretty
yeah.
funny to me
No, just
too. He
straight
just
pulling down
literally
his
ripped his
pants.
pants off. Like, um,
Bro.
and not that this is like my favorite thing, but it's the first guy that did get ejected was Hector Santiago. I think it was 2 or 3 days ago
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
using a substance. Apparently, he doesn't think he was using one, and neither did the manager. So he hasn't been suspended yet. I saw them like take his glove and put it in like a bag, and like send it into the league or something. I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen here, but it's still interesting.
I
I don't
mean,
know.
yeah, we talked about this last week, so I'm not gonna go on a whole rant about it, but like obviously
Yeah,
we're not this is kind of dumb. Like and just the way it was implemented, it's the middle of the season, and like it's just I'm just not for it. And yeah,
no,
Santiago is the first victim.
yeah. So that's we'll see what happens. We'll see if he gets suspended or not. I saw also like they did something with Diego Castillo on the Rays. They like took
Did
his
they?
hat, but they didn't eject him. They gave him a new hat to wear or something, and like I don't know. I was listening to a podcast and like Tyler Glassnow was talking about how like sinker ballers never really use sticky stuff or whatever. And like
Okay.
apparently Castillo is a big sinker baller. If anyone's not really familiar with him, he throws a lot of sinkers.
Mm.
So like the fact that they took his hat really didn't make much sense because I think you want the ball to kind of fly off your hands instead of sticking when you're throwing a sinker, so it like moves
Okay.
away more or whatever. That's what Tyler Glassnow was like saying, and I was like, I guess it makes sense. And then he's the guy that they took the hat from, so it's like, really, like, how does that make any sense? I don't know,
Well, I have
but
a weird one this week too. So Zach McKinstry on the Dodgers, he had come back from the IL recently, and he was struggling a little bit. And then he had a grand slam the other day. But so they were the team was looking into why he was struggling, and they noticed as he was swinging, he was closing his eyes. So like, and then he was talking. McKinstry was talking about. He was like, "Yeah, I've actually this has been a problem since I was a kid." I was like, "What? You've been swinging with your eyes closed?"
like, how do you even make it this far?
No,
Like,
that's what I'm thinking. I guess it's not all the time, but he was
yeah,
like, "Yeah, sometimes when I'm like coming back from injuries, I'll like close my eyes to like pay more attention to my body or whatever." And then yeah, Dave Roberts was like, "Yeah, well, it's good because might not have hit the grand slam if his eyes was closed." Like he's like, "Yeah, no shit." Like
yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen anything like it.
Does he wear glasses? He does, right? Does he wear
I
those
think
goggles
so.
or no?
I
So
think
like
yeah.
maybe he has like eye issues where like he something to do with that. I don't know. I haven't seen that. So that's kind of blowing my mind right now, honestly. That
I've
doesn't
just
really
never
make
heard anything
sense.
like it.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully he straightens it out a little bit.
Hopefully,
Open your eyes, Zach.
I would hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll flip the order a little bit this week. We'll go stat of the week now. So recently, Cubs threw combined no hitter. It was a few days ago, I believe. And it was the first no hitter where the opposing lineup had three former MVPs. So you
Really?
had Pujols in there, you had Betts and
That's
Bellinger. So
wow.
yeah, kind of interesting. And then the other little part of that too was so Kimbrel. We'll talk a little more about this game
Yeah.
later on, but Kimbrel closed it out, and he's like, "Yeah, I actually had no idea it was no hitter."
That was crazy. Like I heard him say that and I was just like, I mean, you've been sitting in the fucking bullpen the whole game, and you've seen a bunch of guys on. Like, I guess maybe you're not really paying that much attention, but you'd
I
think if it's
guess.
a no hitter going on, everyone in the bullpen's talking about it. So what was he just like ignoring everybody? Like, I don't know. That was kind of
I've heard
strange.
I've heard NBA players sometimes like they'll have like a historic performance and they'll be like, yeah, I actually wasn't paying attention to my points I had.
Right,
So
right,
I
right.
mean, I guess it makes sense. I don't.
Because like I think it was Contreras catching, and like he kind of like was celebrating. He like ran out to Kimbrel or whatever, and Kimbrel just like high fived him and was kind of looking at him weird, like "What's
Oof,
up, dude?" Like,
cringe.
but hey, they
That-
still got it. So
no, it didn't affect him, but
no,
cool. I guess Craig
dude,
having a
yeah,
great comeback season for him. But
especially against the Dodgers though. That's kind of nuts with the 3 MVPs though. That's the
oh yeah,
craziest part about it. Like,
no,
how do you
absolutely.
know hit a team that has Betts and Bellinger? I mean, even Pujols obviously is not the same, but like he's still Albert Pujols. Like,
I mean, I don't know. I'm
and I
assuming
saw too that was the first time he's ever been a part of a team that got no hit too for Pujols.
really he's been around a
And like
while.
his he's 41. I mean, he's played what 21 seasons I think. So first time ever. So that's kind of nuts too.
Damn, interesting.
That must have sucked for him to never have
Yeah.
to go through that until you're like 41 years old on a team like the Dodgers too. Like that never happened to him. Like on the Angels, like you'd think that would
No,
have
you
happened
would
at some
think
point.
on that team that
But
would be the one.
yeah,
Yeah, interesting stuff. So approaching the end of June, we'll probably be releasing this on July 1st, I believe. But
yeah,
we're another month down. We're looking at the standings right now. For first place, you have Boston, White Sox, Astros, Mets, Brewers, Giants. Just taking a look at these. What surprised you the most? Whether it's first place teams or whoever.
and
What
I
catches
mean
your eye?
the Giants I think are the most interesting team in baseball right now because
Yeah.
they are the first team to 50 wins. They have the best record in baseball. They have a 2.5 game lead over LA, 4 game lead over San Diego. I mean, they're just doing their thing, and it's really going to be interesting come deadline time what happens with them. Um, I think another interesting part actually is that like in the AL East there are 4 teams that are above 500,
Yeah.
and it's still including the Yankees. I'm kind of happy about that, but
They're
we're not playing good at all. So,
they're hanging in there.
um,
7.5 back right now as we record
yeah,
this.
I mean, you know, what's very interesting is like you guys still have to make up some games actually, and like not to just
Yeah.
compare the Yankees to the Mets, but like we have 40 wins and you guys have 40 wins. But the difference is like you guys have 34 losses and we have 38. And
Right.
like plus your division is like a shit show. So like I mean, in your division you got the Nats in second place at exactly 500, 3 games out. And then like the Braves, the Phillies, and the Marlins are all below 500. Well, like I would say everyone in the division is projected to be a playoff team at the beginning of the year. So that's
Yeah.
another whole thing. That's just a division that like I'm not gonna even pay attention to until like the last month because I really don't even know. We keep saying this every time. It could be flopped. And like last time we did this, the Nationals were in last place and they've moved up 3 spots.
Matter in
Now they're in
second.
second. I mean, that's just interesting. I think like the Marlins kind of fell out now. They're 8.5 out. Um, there's actually a trade we're going to talk about a little bit later. They did just trade a couple guys, so they could really start to sell. We don't really know, but I think another interesting part about the Yanks though is that like the Mariners currently have more wins than we do, which
I noticed that this morning. That's
that'll tell you something right there. So,
rip.
I mean,
I
what do you
think
think is the most interesting part of this? I don't know.
so. A couple of things. I think Cleveland right now they're 2.5 out of first. They're at
Yeah,
42 and 33. I mean, they're hanging in there. White
yeah,
Sox look good, but not like amazing. So, I mean, always said they keep trading guys. They keep trading like their entire team, and they still find a way
yeah,
to make it happen. So we'll keep an eye on them. Other thing too, in the NL West now, you have San Diego in third place with 47 wins. Like that'd be good enough to
yeah.
be first in a lot of these
In
divisions.
in every NL division at least, besides their own. Like if they were in the Central, they would be a game above the Brewers, and in the NL East, I mean, they'd be 7 games out of you guys. So,
Oh yeah. And
um,
so you have 3 teams in the division now that are on pace for at least 95 wins. So I mean,
and
that's gotta be one of the most like top heavy like divisions I've seen in a while.
it reminds me of I think probably 2015 or 16 when the NL Central, it was the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Cubs all made the playoffs. And I think like the Pirates might have been no, the Cubs were like in third, and I think they had like 98 wins or something, and the other two teams had win like above 100 win records. So like that doesn't happen very often, but I remember because it was Cubs Pirates in Pittsburgh for the wild card game, and then I think the Cardinals won the division that year, or maybe the Brew. I don't even remember who, but like you don't see that very often. So like I think maybe a few years ago too, Boston, Yankees, and the Rays all made the playoffs in the same year
Right.
too. But still, it's interesting. Boston's in first.
That one's still
That's
surprising.
another surprise, man. Like them and the Giants, I feel like are the two most surprising teams in the baseball this season. I mean, we just got swept this week in Fenway, so that was just like atrocious baseball by the Yankees. But Boston, give them credit, man. They like played really well against us. They're hitting. I mean, they blew up Garrett Cole. That's another thing we're going to talk about a little bit later on. But
yeah,
you know, that was a game we had to win. When Cole's on the mound, if we lost the first two, that's supposed to get us at least not a sweep, and like they swept us. You know, I think Minnesota is still surprising to me. I don't know what you think about them.
yeah.
They're just
11 and a
very,
half
like,
out right now.
that's good for third place, but like Detroit and Kansas City are 12 out, so they're not very far ahead.
I think they're done.
Yeah, I mean the Reds are finally above 500. I think for the first time in a while.
I keep on saying they're good. Like I don't. I feel like they should be better than this.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, especially with Winker and Castellanos. I mean, it's just like we say this every week. They're probably going to be the starting left and right fielders for the All-Star game. I don't know if they're going to have any other All-Stars.
Yeah.
I know like some other guys have been okay. Like Votto's been pretty good since he came back.
Yeah.
You know, it's just I don't know what the deal is with the Reds, but St. Louis is interesting too, though. They're 38 and 41. They're below 500. That's a surprise. I mean, you think with Arenado, Goldschmidt, Yachty, like the young guys they got, O'Neill. Yeah, Flaherty being hurt, I think, is killing them. I think he's out right now, isn't he? I'm pretty sure that's not not helping. I mean, Waino's been pretty good, actually. That's not an issue there. Like he was kind of off and on to begin the year, but I think he's been pretty solid his past few starts. So good to see out of him. But
and then as we wrap this up, if you're looking at the non-playoff teams right now, who do you think is most likely to turn around and slip in?
Man, I mean, not to sound biased, but like I think the Yanks are gonna figure something out, man. If we don't, I mean, this offseason is gonna be very interesting because I don't know what Cashman would do. Like, you're gonna have to change something if we don't make the playoffs. I'm surprised he hasn't made a trade yet. I think he's gonna try to make at least one big trade, and hopefully that'll help. I mean, it's like, again, Toronto, Tampa, and Boston can all get cold. We could get hot, and then a good week and a bad week by them, we're right back in it. But the way that Boston's been playing and the way that Tampa's been playing, I don't know. But I think the Yanks, man, I do. I just think like we haven't fired on all cylinders yet, and like it's possible that we just don't the whole year. Now that it's been 3 months, you never know. But I think they just got to turn it around. But I don't know. What do you got? What do you think?
I think, yeah, I mentioned Cleveland. I gotta go with them. I think whether they catch the White Sox or they catch, who is it, Oakland, Tampa for the wild card spot. I think they find a way. With their pitching.
Yeah, Bieber's been great. I agree.
And I feel like the offense is just good enough to get it done for them. So.
Yeah, I think like Reyes comes back soon too from his injury.
Yeah,
so that'll help. Yeah. Also, I just want to give a shout out to Houston. They were just very hot the past 2 weeks. I think they won like 10 out of 14 or something crazy like that.
They look very good.
You know, again, we're never going to get that feeling out of us that we don't like them, but you can't take away the fact that they've been playing really good baseball and they overtook the A's. I think that's very important. Do you think the A's ever take it back, or is Houston not letting it up anymore?
Yeah.
This whole season.
Yeah, because I feel like the A's are just too pesky. They're
Yeah,
just like a weird team like that. They're just not going to go away.
Like, I feel like they're just going to be right there. I just don't know if the A's are ever going to get first place back. Like, Houston, like the A's might get a wild card, but I don't know if they ever go ahead of Houston. I don't know, unless they get cold. It's just that's interesting because that division sucks. So like,
yeah,
like we said, Seattle's above 500, but the A's and the Astros are going to be battling it out. Seattle's going to drop off eventually. So
yeah.
It's interesting though. Now that it's halfway through the season, I think you can kind of look at the standings a little bit more seriously than we did probably about a month ago or the month before that, even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
See
check
what
back in at
happens
the
a
end
month
of
from now.
July and see what's
Yeah.
changed.
That'll be the trade deadline too. So we're gonna be talking about a lot of trades about a month from now. So
oh yeah, definitely.
Be
well, you just mentioned the trade deadline, so we'll continue with that a little bit. If you're looking at the American League and a potential trade happening, what do you like?
Well, as much as it hurts me to say this, as I was just talking about the Yanks making the playoffs, I think Toronto's going to try to make a move for some pitchers.
Yeah.
So they need
You
to.
should.
I mean, they have Ryu. Ray has been better this year, but he's not someone I'd count on because it kind of hasn't been consistent over his career.
No.
Man, I'm saying that Toronto acquires Jose Barrios and Taylor Rogers from the Twins. As much as a lot of people probably believe the Twins could maybe snap out of this as good as they've been, I believe it's time for them to wave the white flag. I mean, I think it's just you got to give up on the season and start over this offseason. Maybe even start over at the deadline, get a bunch of prospects for these guys. They're both free agents after 2022, so you'd have them for a year and a half for Toronto. So that would also mean for the Twins, Toronto would probably have to give up a decent amount. They may even give up some guys that are actually on the team right now, like maybe Grichuk or someone like that, because of the surplus of outfielders they have now that Springer came back. Listen, like Barrios is having great bounce back season. He's got a 3.41 ERA, 9.6 K per nine over 15 games. He's got a career ERA of 4.10. Last year he had an even 4 ERA in the shortened year, but obviously again he's having a better year this year. And having Ryu as a mentor, I feel like would help him a lot too, because I feel like having Maeda as a mentor is helping him right now, but Maeda's kind of having an off season. So like I don't know. I don't see him sticking around.
Yeah.
And Kirby Yates went down with Tommy John. So I think Rogers has a lot of closing experience. He'd be a perfect guy to be the closer out there in Toronto. 48 career saves, 7 so far this year. Think about that for a second. That's how bad the Twins have been. Their closer, who became the closer probably about a couple weeks after the season because of Colomé not being good, but still, only 7 saves. That's when you know the team ain't good. But he's got a career ERA of 3.06, so he's obviously been there, done that in the big save situations. And he's never had a K per nine below 9.4. He only had it once in 2017, and that was it. Plus, Rogers is a lefty. Not many lefty closers, so we give the Jays a different look out of the pen too at the end of the game. Just like the Yankees have Chapman, but there's not too many other lefty closers, I feel like. So that could be beneficial for them.
I think they definitely need someone like Barrios, but I would say they still need at least one more like star pitcher on that rotation. Like Barrios is going to help, but I'm trying to think of like other aces they could go for. Maybe you have to wait till the offseason, depending on what it looks like. But even if you give me like Barrios, Ryu, Ray, like that's still leaving something to be desired.
I think the biggest hole in their team is the fact that Pearson isn't pitching again. I think he's hurt right now. He was supposed to come up and be the star this year behind Ryu. That didn't happen. So, like, he pitched a little bit, but then he got hurt. Not sure exactly when he'll come back. But again, he's not even a guy you can really count on, man. Like, his pitched probably a total of like 10 games in his career. Obviously, he was a stud in the minor leagues, but like, even if he comes back, that rotation still has a lot to ask for. And like, Barrios has pitched in the playoffs. Obviously, he pitched against us. He actually didn't pitch horribly. We ended up winning the game late, I think, a couple of years ago when he pitched against us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's again, like his career ERA is 4.10. Is that like Ryu level? No. But I would say I would call that like maybe a 2-starter, but a 3-starter for sure. So, it would help. But I agree with you. They would definitely need another bigger pitcher out there.
Yeah, because right now the strategy is just you have to outscore everyone. You just have to ball out on offense. Because
like they have been, but like they have. It's continue.
Worked.
Like
I mean, it's worked that they're 40 and 36, so like they've been good, but
yeah, they haven't been what they were hoping to be.
Right.
So I obviously too, another thing that would have probably helped them right now is if they had Michael Brantley, because that almost happened and then it didn't happen. Remember, in the offseason?
True.
Because he's been raking for Houston this year.
He's leading
So
the
they
league in batting average.
obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
So they wish they had him, but I just still think these two pitchers would help them. I don't think it would propel them up to first in the division, but it would definitely be a start. So that's who I got for the AL.
Yeah. What about NL? Who are you looking at?
NL, we talked about the Giants last week. I said they could acquire Kyle Schwarber, who we'll talk about him a little later on too. He's been on a tear. But let's say that trade doesn't happen, or that trade does happen, and they still want to make some more moves. I say, being Miami is kind of dropping off a little bit, they might sell Jesus Aguilar, and I think that would be a perfect fit in San Francisco. Brandon Belt just was placed on the IL with knee issues. I don't know exactly what, but he's seeking a second opinion, so that's never good.
No, that's a bad sign.
And the best team in the league needs a solid starting first baseman, you know?
Yeah.
And listen, Aguilar is currently top 5 for RBIs in the National League with 51. Right now, he's hitting 260. He's got 12 homers, 51 RBIs, like I said, and a 773 OPS over 73 games played. So he's played almost every game for them, too. And listen, over his career, he's kind of had some up and down years. Obviously, with the Brewers, he was an all-star once. He was in the home run derby that time.
Yeah.
But his 162-game average is a 259 batting average, 24 bombs, 85 RBIs, and an 800 even OPS. So right now, he's pretty much right on par with those numbers. Halfway through the year, he's got 12 homers. The RBI on pace is probably closer to 100 than 85 right now for this year. So he's been solid for Miami. Kind of interesting, the fact that, like, he's in the top 5 for RBIs and they're still, like, 8.5 games out.
True.
Because, like, I think he had a chance to start the All-Star game if the Marlins weren't doing that bad, but everyone's looking at, like, other guys.
Yeah.
And listen, but, like, Aguilar's not even bad defensively either. A lot of people think he would be because he's, like, a big dude over there. But he has a career 992 fielding percentage at first. Brandon Belt has a career 994. So it's pretty much the same thing. And I think Belt's won some Gold Gloves before, too. Like, Aguilar's not that much worse than him. You know, I think, and he's obviously known for, like, a great clubhouse presence, Aguilar. Like, he's a fun guy. He just does this funny shit all the time. Like, even with Milwaukee, him and Yelich or whoever, like, and now in Miami, him and, like, Miggy Rojas, Josh Chisholm, like, you see that he's a great veteran guy to have around the young guys, too. So I think for a first-place team, they need a first baseman, especially if Belt's going to be out for a while, and this would be a perfect fit for me.
Yeah, I think Miami, there's no point of holding on to him unless you really just want, like, a veteran presence for guys like Chisholm and all them. Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, they're in last. I don't see how they're going to really turn it around if you look at that team. So, yeah, I think he's a good fit in San Francisco if they're really trying to make a push.
I think, too, I saw earlier this year when Miami went out to San Francisco, Aguilar homered twice in that series at Oracle Park. So big ballpark, but so is Miami. So obviously he's used to hitting in a big ballpark with the homers that he's hitting. So
true.
You know, I think, again, he would just be a perfect fit with those veterans out there too, because, like, he's a veteran and, like, you don't want a veteran laden team really, but somehow the Giants are making it work with that. So why not add another one? I mean, I don't see why not.
He's sneaky good. Like, the more I think about it, he actually has had a pretty good career.
He has. Like, I remember that year with Milwaukee was amazing, but then he played good with Tampa, and he had a great year last year with the Marlins. And again, this year, he's actually on my fantasy team this year too. So I picked him up a while ago because I saw he started getting hot again, and he's been great ever since. So
real steady guy. So maybe he goes to a playoff team. We'll see.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right, get into who's hot and who's not. Who you got for hot right now?
Hot, I got a guy over in San Diego, Jake Cronenworth. Very underrated part of that team.
He is.
Right now, in his past 15 games, so about 2 weeks, he's hitting 362, 6 homers, 13 RBIs, and a 1.27 OPS. Also, in my opinion, Cronenworth was snubbed out of the All-Star finalists for second base. Obviously, he can still be a reserve, but the final guys over there were Albies, Lux, who, like, we talked about Lux, but Cronenworth's numbers are way better than Lux.
Yeah, Cronenworth.
And I forget who the other one was, but it was, you know, Cronenworth should be there, especially because he's shown all this power, like, as of late. Because like last year he showed some power, but like this year he kind of started out slow in the power department. Now I think he has over 10 homers this year as a second baseman in San Diego. I mean, obviously Tatis, Machado, Hosmer, Grisham, everybody else like kind of overlooks him a little bit, but
Yeah.
he's a big part of that team. So
He also doesn't strike out a lot either. So
yeah, he doesn't. No. That's why I feel like he's different than a lot of guys there too. Like, not that Tatis strikes out a ton, but he strikes out a decent amount because he's a power hitter.
Yeah.
Like Machado too, and like Will Myers obviously strikes out a lot. Hosmer makes contact too, but still, I think Cronenworth's been hot, and he deserved to be an all-star, but he still could be. So that's who I got hot-wise right now. What about you?
Bro, I got a guy who's fucking hot right now. Kyle Schwarber now. 14 homers in his last 16 games. And if like, you know, I half of them have come against the Mets. I think in his last 3 games against us, he has 7. I don't know. Like, I remember when he came up, it was like he was a big deal, and then he's kind of had like an okay career. But like, my God, I don't know. I remember I texted you about the other because I had no idea he was actually doing this well. I was like, I know. Kyle Schwarber is 14 is less 16. Bro.
Like, I think that Bonds and someone else are like the only 2 guys to ever even be close to this. Schwarber might have even outdid them with 14. I think Bonds and whoever else did it. It might have even been Ruth. I don't remember. But it was like either they had like 12 and something or like 13 and something. And like Schwarber now has 14 and 16 games. And like, has he had like, he had a 3-homer game against you guys at some point. Then he had 2 last night. Right. I think he had 2 against you guys last night. One of those pitches too. I don't know if you were watching the game at all. I kind of was flicking through the channels last night. One of them almost like hit him, and he like just fucking swung an inside pitch and like hit it out. I was like, dude, what? Bro, I mean, he's like,
is he a free agent at the end of the year? Wow, he's
yeah. They signed to a 1-year deal, so
he's probably at what, like 22, 23 homers right now. Like, that you probably would have like penciled in for him for like the whole season.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like his past few years, he's averaged about that, maybe closer to 30. But like, I don't think maybe he's had a little bit above 30 like once in his career. This year, I mean, wouldn't be surprised if he hits close to 50 like at this point. So if he keeps this up, I know he's a streaky guy, but
yeah,
he could totally keep it up. And this could be what the Cubs were waiting for all those years.
Oh yeah,
it just so happens to be coming with the Nats. So.
Of course, against us. And also, honorable mention, Shohei Ohtani has 8 home runs in his last 12 games. Very pedestrian next to Kyle Schwarber. But
hey, fun fact about that too. He homered against us yesterday in the Bronx, and it was his hardest hit home run of his whole career. It was like 117.8 miles an hour off the bat.
Damn.
I was watching that, and they were like, yeah, so apparently this is like his hardest hit ball ever, or like home run ball ever. So,
he's nuts,
I mean,
man.
Dude, so like scouting report on him too last night was that like he hits sinkers really well. So like Mike King was pitching for us. So he didn't really throw many sinkers at all. But he also, obviously we know Ohtani can hit off speed. So it's a full fucking count. And he just throws a slider perfectly down and in. And Ohtani just rips it. And like, it was crushed. I mean, he's on another level. Him and Schwarber right now, it's just like.
And like, I try not to gas him up too much because the MLB markets him so much and everyone talks about him. So I try not to overdo it, but like, he's just ridiculous. And I mean,
I think he's projected to have a WAR of about 12 in this season. That's like, because of his pitching too. Like, it's going to combine. Like, that is just unbelievable. That would surpass Bonds. Like, I mean, again, it's crazy that Bonds was close to that just hitting wise, but still. Yeah. Ohtani is probably going to win the MVP, and if not, it sucks for Vladdy, I think, because Ohtani's probably going to win it. Yeah, it is. But yeah, good honorable mention though. Gotta tell you.
Yeah, no, truly, it's a tough competition this week for hot. But what about who's not? Who do you got?
Man, I got a guy I'm a big fan of, but he's kind of not doing too good. Even this weekend against us, he wasn't great. Guy on the Red Sox going with Alex Verdugo. Great dude. Love him, but he's hitting 136, 3 for 22 his last 7 games. No homers, no RBIs, 478 OPS. So, he'll probably get it going. But I like him a lot. I loved him when he was in LA too, and
Yeah.
it sucks to see him do bad because like he's such a big, like he's almost like Willie Adamas in the sense that like he gets the clubhouse going. I feel like, or the guys in the dugout, but like he's still doing that even though he's doing bad, which I love. Like I love when guys do that. So
Yeah.
you know, it's always great though when you get to do that and you're doing good. So even though he's on the Red Sox, I'm hoping that he turns it around pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean it's helping them at least because they're doing fine without him hitting.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
at least his presence is helping. Yeah. But I mean, you're talking about that Yankees Red Sox series a little bit. From my slumping guy, Gleyber Torres now since June 13th. I don't know how many games that is, but 2 for 34. Strikeout numbers are up. He's not look good.
And I don't know what it is. He kind of went through a little bit of a hot stretch for like a couple weeks before that, and now it's just like no one has been called at him. I think he went 0 for 4 again last night. I don't even know what to say because I was such a huge fan of him when he first came up. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know what's going on.
I mean, we were talking about this a little bit a couple of weeks ago. Like, I feel like ever since 2019, he really hasn't looked the same. But at least last year, he was like,
oh, he hasn't.
He was average at least. He wasn't even at a poor season.
Yeah, no. No, I mean, like he was hurt for a while last year too. Plus, it was a shortened year.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to give him like excuses either, but could it be like the deadened balls? I mean, like I don't want to give him an excuse like that, but like he used to be such a power hitter, and now all of a sudden he's just like not. So like I don't understand if he's not using his hips right or if it's the ball. It's just like he's not driving the ball. That's the issue, and I don't know why.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess to counter that though, if he's striking out more, and was
right.
What I say 2 for 34. So I mean, yeah, maybe the power is down, but he's also just like not even making contact. So
no, and I don't know why. I feel like maybe I just feel like they need to move him to second base, but then we would have to trade people. Like I don't know if he needs to. As much as I would hate to see him go, I don't know if he needs to be a part of a trade, and he needs to just change the scenery, and we get someone else to play shortstop. Because I love him, dude. I mean, you remember his great years in 18 and 19. He played great in the postseason. Even last year, he had great postseason numbers. People forget that because he's been so bad this year, and he was bad during the season last year. He had a few big homers for us in the playoffs last year against the Rays. I think against Cleveland he had one too. He's clutch too. Like in the playoffs, he's always been good. I don't know, man. He's just got to try to make contact. But like then if he's doing that, then he's just gonna get weak contact. Like I don't know what he's gonna do. I don't know if he maybe has to change his swing. Like we talked about Gary, I think last week or the week before, how he's changed his swing a little bit and he's gotten better. Like you can't just change your swing like in a day, but like maybe he's trying to, and maybe he'll just click and it'll just finally get there. I don't know, because like everyone on the Yankees says he's like getting to the field early, working with our hitting coaches and stuff. So it's not that he's not putting the work in. I just, it's tough to see, man. I don't know.
Yeah, baseball's a game of adjustments. So
yeah,
I don't know, but I wanted to touch a little bit on the home run derby. So we don't have all the participants announced yet at the time we're recording this, but right now we have Ohtani, Pete Alonso, Trey Mancini, and Trevor Story. So 4 spots remaining. I mean, you have guys like Vladdy who said he's not going to participate. I mean,
I wish he would.
No, that's a shame. But I mean, I don't know. So only one of these participants is in the top 5 for home run totals. I don't know. It's kind of an underwhelming group so far. I don't know what I want to hear.
Yeah, like I don't know how to I don't know if it's like underwhelming. It's like obviously all the guys there are like power hitters, but like not all of them have been like that good this year, like power wise. They've been good, but like obviously Shohei 26 homers leads the league. I mean, he deserves to be in it. But like I feel like it's kind of changed recently than what it had been, where they used to, I feel like, try to pick the guys with the most homers, like in the season. That's just what they did. But like now it's like more you just want the show. And like I get that Alonso won the last one too. So like that one, I don't care as much about really because like they used to do how if you won, you were like a captain and like you would automatically be in it the next year if you won, if you wanted to be. Like I remember Cano did it a few years in a row, or people did it a few years in a row, like Prince Fielder or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, like I kind of wish it was the top home run hitters in the league all just did it, but
Uh-huh.
I know that like some of them don't want to. Like Vladdy literally said he doesn't want to. So then what? Like I don't know, but I think it's cool that they invited Mancini to do it because a year ago Mancini was fighting cancer. So
Yeah.
um, I think that'll be really cool. And obviously Trevor Story is the best player on the Rockies, and it's in Coors Field, so that kind of makes sense. They usually try to get a guy from the hometown stadium to do it.
I
So
Yeah, I guess it's fine. He only has 9 though. I mean,
I know he
yeah,
was hurt for a while too, but yeah, I agree with you. Like 9, but
yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Who would you want to round out? A couple guys you want to round out the final few spots.
Um, I mean, obviously the obvious answers are like Stanton and Judge, but like obviously, and I don't think they're doing it yet, or else they would have said they were.
Yeah, I don't think.
I'm gonna go a little bit outside the box here. I'm gonna go Matt Olson. I think I would love
Okay.
to see Matt Olson do it. We talked about him a little bit, I think last week. He's been solid. Great power numbers this year. Um, Another one that I think I would love to see is Rafael Devers. That kid can hit the ball to the moon. So,
Yeah.
especially in Coors Field, like I'm trying to think of guys that hit long home runs like to begin with. Um,
Hmm.
Obviously, too, one that I would love, which I don't think will happen, is Nolan Arenado, because I would love to see how Rockies fans would treat him.
Yeah, yeah. That wouldn't go
I don't
over
know what
well
would
for
really
him.
happen there, but I think that would be kind of funny. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know. Give me a couple of guys you think, though.
I mean, I feel like I have to go with Schwarber at this point because I do
Yeah,
kind of want the top guys. Like I'm more basic like
right.
that, but yeah, like, I do kind of want the top guys. So Schwarber, I would say. I feel like Acuna's probably done it once at this point, but that would be. I mean, I believe he's 5th right now.
Yeah.
Um,
I think obviously Tatis would be cool, too.
yeah, I did Tati say anything yet? Am I
I don't
making
think
it
he
up that
has.
he hasn't? Okay, okay.
Well, did you hear something? Maybe I didn't
No,
hear.
see,
I don't
I
know.
feel like I thought he said something, but I might just be making it up.
Okay.
Um, and then yeah, maybe I would say like Jesse Winker too, unless he's
Yeah. Yeah, I think like Winker and Castellanos, either one of them, I would love to see do it too. I mean, there's so many good guys. Another guy I'd love to see do it is Jacob DeGrom, but that ain't gonna happen. He'd
he
end up fucking
absolutely
hurting
blow out his
himself
shoulder.
again. I know. He'd definitely hit some bombs though, guaranteed. Like he would
Having
love
two
it.
pitchers in the derby. No, I would love it, and I'd
Yeah,
just be
yeah,
petrified what comes next. But dude, this is
yeah,
gonna. I mean, we've said this is gonna be a good derby, though. I mean,
yeah.
Colorado. I just want the big names in there. I just want the
I
guys
know.
who like are actually hitting the bomb. So, I mean, probably
I mean,
I would
yeah,
think by next week when we're recording, we'll have a
yeah.
better idea who's in it. But
I just think though that like I know that Stanton isn't like at the top, but like I think for a few years in a row, Stanton would have like the longest homer, and it was always when he visited Coors Field with the Marlins. So
yeah,
like, I mean, who would hit the farthest homer, him or Otani, if Stanton did it? Who do you think?
Stanton.
You think so?
He
I
should just
mean,
be like a
dude, like
staple every year. He should just be in
I
every
know
single year. Just
because like I mean, he just hits bombs there, dude. I've seen him hit a homer there to like the back fucking
oh
porch
yeah,
where all the food is, like past all the seats. It's like, dude, what? It's just unbelievable. I think he probably has the longest homer there ever, probably like 500 something feet. Um, I'm assuming. So I would love for him to do it, but I don't know if he will. He's done it now. How many times? Probably
a few times.
3.
Yeah, my guess is
He
he's
won it
probably
once. He won it in San Diego, right? I think that was the one year he won it.
it probably was.
I
Yeah.
think so.
So,
Because I think that one he hit like the fucking scoreboard or something, like way up in like left field or something. I mean, I don't know. Kind of probably
yeah.
sound biased, but I think every baseball fan wants to see Giancarlo Stanton in the home run derby. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, we'll stick with so getting into what it seems and not what it seems. We'll stick with you guys with the Yanks for a bit. Let's start Garrett Cole. So Garrett Cole now, his April and May ERA was 1.81. Looking like the AC is. Junior ERA is up to 4.65. He's allowed 5 earned runs in a few of his starts recently. Well, in starts since May 28th. I mean, what do you think? Like, is this Is it the sticky substance issue that's getting to him? Is it just a slump he's in?
And I don't know. Like, I think obviously the sticky thing is affecting a lot of pitchers because, like, let's face it, probably 90% of pitchers did use it. Like,
Yeah.
even the guys who are getting annoyed about getting checked, some of them probably have used it in the past. Like, let's just be straightforward with it.
Yeah.
Whether it's spider tack, whether it's sunscreen and rosin, whether it's whatever else they would use. So obviously, I do think that Cole used it. Like, I'm not gonna say like he didn't, just because he's Garrett Cole and he's on the Yankees. Like, I think he used it, and like honestly, we've heard guys say they used it. Like Tyler Glass, now again, I mentioned him before, but like he said he used it, and he said that might have been a reason why he got hurt because he couldn't grip the ball as good or whatever the reasoning is. I do think that it wasn't just that he went to Houston and they gave him sticky stuff. Because, like, remember before that, he was never like the ace. Like, he was good with the Pirates.
Yeah.
But before joining Houston, he had a 3.52 ERA and 8.3 K per nine. Okay. That's not bad. That's like pretty solid.
Pretty good.
But then once he got there, I'm not counting his June 2021 numbers. His Houston and New York numbers is a 2.51 ERA and 12.3 strikeouts per nine. So that ERA is a full number down, and the strikeouts per nine is 4 up. So, I don't think that it was just the sticky stuff. I really don't. I think this is kind of a slump.
Yeah.
Because I think it's getting in his head because he had that shitty interview.
Mm-hmm.
Everything fucking bad happened with that. And, I think like everyone talked about how Pittsburgh's pitching coaches taught them to throw sinkers. Then Houston's pitching coaches taught them to throw four-seamers up. We saw that happen with Verlander when he went there to Houston. Remember that? Like when they went on that run in August, in September in the playoffs, like he was a big four-seam guy, and that's what really changed his career around. Okay. So that happened with Cole as well when he went there the next season. Like I think it had to do with the pitching coaches and the guys around him helping him out, but still, the sticky stuff had to be some kind of effect.
Yeah,
I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I would think so. I'm leaning more towards just a slump. I mean, in that he's learning to adjust. I mean, yeah, partially he's learning to adjust without spider tack or whatever he was using.
Like whatever he used. We don't really know exactly what he used, but like I'm assuming he didn't say he didn't use it in that stupid interview he had. So obviously he used something.
Yeah, I think he figures it out. But yeah, man, he's been amazing for like 3 years now. So it's just weird to see him slip. I mean, there was talk for a while that he was up there with DeGrom. And now,
right. I mean, again, like right now his overall ERA this year is like 2.3 something. Like even with this bad month.
Yeah.
So like it's not like
fantastic.
It's not like he's out. Like he's still a great top 10 pitcher, I feel like. I don't think he's gonna like unless he pitches like he did this month the rest of the season, he's a top 10 pitcher. Like I think he figures it out. Obviously, again, like no excuses, but he went against Boston's offense the other day, who has been really good. And like Garrett should have pitched way better than that. But you know what? Whatever. It's Boston. They've been good this year. I think his other bad start was either against Toronto or Tampa, who also obviously has been good. So like, but he pitched like when everything happened with that interview, the next day he did have a great start against Minnesota. He got the win. He struck out Donaldson twice. Like he hasn't been like horrible. The 2.5 ERA, the 2.5 run games that he let up bloated that ERA to 4.6. If it was like around 2 or 3 ones, he probably would have an ERA for June below 4, which still isn't ace numbers, but like it's better than what it looks like. I just think it's a slump, man. I do. I hope, because if it's not, we just invested in the wrong guy. So
yeah, no, I think it's a slump too. I mean, shifting over to another guy in that division, Cedric Mullins. So before this year, before 2021, batting average of 200, 577 OPS, only 115 games. Like he's a fairly young guy. This year, though, batting 315, 13 homers, 14 stolen bases, 920 OPS. I picked him up in fantasy. He's been killing it.
Oh, yeah.
He's leading the league in hits. So what do you think of him and how legit he is?
Yeah. So obviously he was a big prospect in Baltimore for a while. He kind of was up and down the past few seasons. Like you said, he hit 200, but that happens to guys when you're first coming up. You're not getting consistent playing time, whatever the case is. I think he's
Yeah.
definitely what it seems. You know, he's making contact all the time, and it's not always power, which is the thing. So like he leads the league in hits. So like he's getting infield hits because he's a fast guy. He's getting a lot of
Mhm.
singles, a lot of doubles. Obviously, he's getting some power though because his OPS is above 900. I mean,
Yeah.
this guy deserves to be an all-star. And like, do you know he's currently seventh in AL outfield voting out of
Hmm.
nine? Like, he should be in the top three, in my opinion. Because do you know what the top three is right now in the outfield voting?
I feel like I'm gonna be
Trout,
disappointed at
who's
top
hurt,
one.
Trout, who's hurt, Judge, and Buxton, who's hurt, I think. So two of the guys in the top three are hurt.
Okay. So that would what push Mullins up to like fifth technically if you're
Probably. But I still think he should be the top three because he's probably like the best Baltimore player besides Trey Mancini this year. So
yeah. I think
um,
yeah, I agree. I think he's legit. His bat average on balls in play is pretty high. It's somewhere like around 360. So that
okay.
shows he's probably not he's hitting a little over his head right now. But I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, like you're saying, he was one of their best prospects. Still only 26.
Right.
So
I
yeah,
think the
no, he's
greatest thing about that too is that he wasn't even guaranteed a starting role this year.
yeah.
Him and Austin Hayes were kind of competing for center field. And then to
Mm,
start the year, Hayes was on the IL, so Mullins got it. And he's kind of taking it over now. Obviously, Hayes is back, but he's playing the corner now. Mullins is center field every day, so he's been solid, man. I really think he's what it seems, and he'll probably get his first All Star game this year, whether it's on the reserve or if he's starting. So it's a
yeah.
pretty cool story.
No, good for him. Oh, wait,
Yeah,
we didn't even mention the All-Star game jerseys. What did you think of them?
uh, I actually haven't seen him. What do they
Oh,
look
they're
like?
pretty bad. They're pretty bad. I
Are
mean,
they? Oh, they're
you can
bad.
judge for
Oh
yourself.
shit.
They're like so now they're gonna wear them during the games. Like they're not just
Oh, are
jerseys
they?
anymore.
Hmm.
Hope maybe Brian could throw a picture in the video for us. But
Yeah,
they are
yeah.
like they're blue. I want to say blue for American League, like navy for American League, and white for National League. And they're like polos. And they have like the teams like the letters. So like Atlanta would be like ATL. It just says like ATL. It's like the logo.
Huh.
It's I'll let you look at them and then get back to me. But
Yeah, I gotta look at these, man. That's weird.
kind of wonky.
Um,
Yeah. But
there's no purple.
nah.
Like it's in
No, you
Colorado.
yeah, no, that's
Man, maybe if enough people don't like him, they'll redo him.
no, you would hope. I mean, that game's had enough
Yeah,
problems already. But
I know.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, but then the last guy I want to talk about today, like Mullins breaking out, is Freddie Peralta. So before this season, never had an ERA below 3.99. This year, 7-2, 2.17 ERA. Basically been just as good as Woodruff and Burns. I mean, his career FIP is 3.47, so showing he's in his career he's been a little better than his ERA looks. But I mean, what do you think of him? He's been an all-star.
Um, yeah, I think he's what it seems. I do. You know, he came up, I think back in like 2017, maybe,
Mm,
and he was okay that year. Then he like dropped off in 2018 and 19. Even last year, he wasn't very good. Like we said, he's
yeah,
never had an ERA below like around 4. And then I mean, I think working with Woodruff and Burns obviously helped him because those two guys are like studs. They have been now for like over 2 years probably. Um, I mean, listen, he's got a 2.17 ERA, like you said, and 12.6 K per nine. That ERA is between Woodruff and Burns, and so is the K per nine. So,
yeah,
he's like a solid guy out there, man. And obviously, I think the biggest thing here is the FIP, 3.47 career FIP. I mean, like, that means that those years he had the bloated ERAs, it wasn't really his fault.
yeah.
So, yeah, I think he's definitely what it seems. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think I agree. I think especially the strikeout numbers make me think he's pretty legit. And yeah, man, you might have three all stars in that rotation. And National
That's
League
nuts.
Cy
Yeah,
Young race is crazy this year. But
I
I mean,
know.
they'll potentially get in the All Star game.
Plus, Hader and Williams could potentially be all-stars too. If Williams kind of turns it around more, like he kind of started out weird this year, but he's been better for like the past 2 months. I think Hader will definitely be an all-star though too. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, so now we're going to talk about some great pitching performances, the junk ballers of the week. So we mentioned this before. Cubs had that combined no-hitter against the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. So something kind of interesting about this was that there were so many walks by the Cubs in this game. I don't know if you saw, like Davies went 6 innings, but he had 5 walks. So like that's why he couldn't finish it himself. His pitch count was like over 100, I think, when they took him out.
Huh.
But then like Tepera came in and had 1 walk, but no hits or anything, obviously. Then Chafin came in, 1 inning, 1 walk, no hits. Kimbrel came in, 1 inning, 1 walk, no hits. So they had a total of 8 walks, but they got the no-hitter. Like, does that make it less to you, like less important, like being they let up that many walks?
Not necessarily. I think when Johan Santana threw a no-hitter, he had like 5 or 6.
Did he have that many? Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, man, that Cubs bullpen has been very good this season.
Yeah, like we talked about Kimbrel, but the other guys have been solid too. Guys you wouldn't really expect, like Andrew Chafin, you wouldn't really expect him to be like lights out, but he really has been. So yeah, good for him. Also, a few days later, I think it was on Sunday Night Baseball, Clayton Kershaw against the Cubs, 8 innings, 1 earned run, 13 strikeouts. That was vintage Kershaw. Okay. I mean, if anyone watched that game, that was just lights out. So
great series.
You haven't seen that from him in a little while. Oh yeah, for sure. Didn't Bueller pitch pretty well too? I don't remember which day he pitched, so. But
yeah.
Then on that same day, Zach Wheeler, former Met, against the Mets at Citi Field, 7 innings, 0 earned runs, 8 strikeouts. That must have been tough for you to watch, huh?
He was the one that got away. I mean, especially for what is he getting, like $22 million a year? Yeah, that he got away. He's looked great. I mean, last season and this season combined, he's looked very good. So
yeah. An interesting game that day too was the Tigers against the Astros. We talked about how good the Astros have been. Well, I think Tarek Skubal is how you say his name. I think. Do you know? I don't know. I think I'm saying it right.
But I've never. Yeah, but
he's I know he was a top prospect for Detroit for a while, and he went 7 innings, 1 run, 9 Ks in Detroit. Tigers ended up winning that game, so he pitched pretty well. That was kind of interesting because Houston's been so good too.
Yeah.
But maybe it's because it's an arm they haven't really seen before. That could be the case. So
true.
Good start by a young kid there against the Astros, showing some guts out there. And another guy we talked a lot about is Kyle Gibson. The day before all of those starts, he had a great start against the Royals, 7 innings, 0 earned runs, 10 strikeouts. He only had 3 base runners, man. So that was a pretty good performance. I have him on my fantasy team, so I've been paying attention to him the whole year now. He's been solid.
Bro, he's like in his 30s, right? Like he's never been anywhere near this good in his career.
I think he's like 32, maybe 33, something like that. Maybe even older. I don't know. I've heard a lot of guys talk about how like Lance Lynn was on the Rangers last year, and they think that Lance Lynn helped him out a lot because now Gibson has become more of a 4-seam guy instead of a 2-seam guy, just like Lynn did. So I think that Lance Lynn as a teammate really helped him out. Because like again, I think his ERA this year is like 2.1 something. So like he's been really good. So we had some good pitching performances. And to get into injuries, talk about a pitcher on the Braves. Really shitty story here. Mike Soroka, unfortunately, he re-tore his Achilles and requires the same surgery he just had. So that's another year out right now, at least. So, man, that's a tough one. Even though you're a Mets fan, you got to hate to see that.
Yeah, that's a big blow for him. I mean, they've had a few major injuries or even just absences, especially, I guess, when you consider Ozuna losing him. But, yeah, man, it sucks. Was he like 23?
I think so, yeah. And, like, he was so good his rookie year, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really tough, man. You remember, like, him and Fried were supposed to be, like, the guys out there in Atlanta, and now Fried's kind of doing it all alone. So that kind of sucks for him, too.
Yeah, no, it's not a super deep rotation, so that's a blow. That's sad.
Yeah. We had another nasty injury. This one was really unfortunate too. We were hoping for the best for Josh Naylor. I don't know if you saw this.
I
Josh
heard about
Naylor,
it. Don't think I want to watch it.
yeah, dude. So he crashed into Ernie Clement was the guy playing second, and Naylor was in right field, and they kind of just like smashed into each other at full speed. And then Naylor kind of went flying and like landed on his ankle really weird. They said he just fractured his leg. I don't know exactly what fractured. They didn't really say. So that could be multiple fractures, which would really suck. This guy is supposed to be up and coming for Cleveland. He was pretty good in the playoffs against the Yankees last year, too. He was like the one guy on Cleveland that actually did good against us, like last year in the wild card series. I think he's been pretty solid this year, too. So that was tough, man. You always hate to see injuries like that where there's not really a way around it. Like, it's not like you pull your hammy. Like, he's smashing to someone. You're going to get hurt. So,
yeah, just got to communicate out there between
yeah.
the ball, but damn.
Oh, yeah. That was tough to watch. Another tough one with a pitcher on the Padres. Dinelson Lamet, again, placed on the IL, right forearm strain. And whenever you hear that, you think TJ, and then he's gone on the IL multiple times this year. Then he comes back. Then he goes back in the IL. Like, imagine where the Padres would be if he was healthy the whole year. They might even be in first.
He was great last year. I think going forward, though, if you're San Diego, you got to just expect he's not going to be there. And it's still a great rotation without him. But, I would not rely on him for, the rest of this season. Or, I don't even know. He can't stay healthy.
I know. I'd hope that they just figure it out. And listen, if he needs TJ, don't keep avoiding it. Just get it over with so he doesn't have to keep going through this. Not that a guy wants to go through that, but if that's the answer, don't try other things and then have him go on the IL every other week. Just get it over with, and he'll be back next year. That's what I would do, but I don't know if he needs it or not.
Yeah, because they as good as he is, they can afford to not have him for a little bit. I mean, they on pace for 95 wins right now without him. So
yeah, and I mean their rotation man is Darvish, Snell, Paddock, Musgrove, and it's supposed to be Lamet, but I think Weathers is a kid who's come up and actually been pretty solid as their fifth starter. So
yeah,
again, obviously they'd love to have him, but if he's not there, it's not the end of the world, I don't think. Some good news here. Brandon Nimmo is rejoining the Mets today. We're recording on Tuesday, so he should be back in action when this comes out too, against the Braves. I think you guys are playing the Braves, right? Yeah.
He looked like an all-star before he went down.
Yeah, he was playing great.
But
I know. So that was some good news for you guys. Some bad news for the Yanks this weekend. Zach Britton was placed on the IL with a left hamstring strain. Man, he was just out for the first 2 months. He'd been solid since he got back to this one sucked. As if the weekend couldn't have gotten bad enough. Then Britton gets hurt too. So
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it was tough. But we always hate to talk about injuries, but when it happens, you gotta talk about it. So let's hope that Brandon Nimmo, though, man, for you, hopefully he comes back. Great leadoff guy.
Dude,
so what will really happen there too? Is McKinney the everyday center fielder right now? Is he gonna push McKinney out of there? Okay.
Yeah, so I would think he's moving back to the bench. I mean, yeah,
he's been good for you guys too.
Dude, he has. I think
he homered last night too, right? McKinney, I'm pretty sure homered last night.
He went back to back with Alonso. I mean,
right.
Dude, once everyone's back, you're looking at a bench of McKinney, Jonathan Villar, Evan Pillar, Jose Peraza's had some hits.
Right. Yeah.
So I just gotta get the guys back, but I think Nimmo is a big on base guy.
Yeah.
He should have some power. I mean, so definitely good to have him back.
Yeah, for sure. And to close out today, we're going to talk about a quick trade that actually just happened this morning, probably about an hour before we started to record. So the Blue Jays and the Marlins made a trade. As we were talking about before, we talked about both of those teams in potential trades. So the Jays are acquiring Corey Dickerson and Adam Simber from the Marlins for Joe Panik and a minor league pitcher to be named later. So, before looking into the numbers, what do you think about this trade? First thoughts.
Do the Blue Jays even have room for Dickerson in their outfield? I feel like it's packed already.
Yeah, so I was thinking about that too. One thing that they didn't talk about really is that Dickerson is currently on the IL. He's
Oh,
supposed to come back kind of soon, though. I think they did this, though, because they have a surplus of right-handed outfielders. Like, if you think about their team, it's Gurriel, Grichuk, Springer, and Teoscar Hernandez are the
yeah.
4 outfielders there. One of
Uh-huh.
them is probably going to be DHing now a lot. So I think this either opens up a spot to trade one of them and plug Dickerson to the outfield, or just put Dickerson in at DH, or like have like them platoon, or maybe I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but obviously Springer's playing. And I think it's obvious that Teoscar Hernandez is going to play because he's having an all-star season. He would probably be an all-star.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, Grichuk's been good too. And like, he's the center fielder right now. What are you going to do? Sit him? Like, I don't even know what's been happening since Springer came back, but I don't know what the deal is over there. Like, they're all good. And like, but Dickerson's left-handed. So like, that is the key. I think he's got to play because you
Yeah.
wouldn't have acquired a left-handed outfielder if you're not going to play him and you're just going to play all the righties. Like, that doesn't really make sense.
True. True. And
Um,
they got a pitcher too, right?
yeah, so Adam Simber has been on like 4 teams now, which is pretty crazy. He's only like 25.
Hmm.
He was on San Diego, then he was on Cleveland and Miami, and now Toronto. But I think he's like a side armor. I think he kind of throws a little weird, which is good luck for the bullpen. Obviously, for Toronto, it'll help him out.
Yeah.
In his career, he's had a 3.69 ERA. This year, he's having his best season ever. He's got a 2.88 ERA so far. He doesn't
Hmm.
have like the high strikeout numbers, but I think that's because he's a side armor and he throws a lot of sinkers. So he's
Okay.
not like meant to have the strikeouts. Like he's meant to get like ground balls and double plays and shit like that.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting. But again, I think like Dickerson is probably the main part, even though Toronto needs help in the bullpen. I think they just wanted to get more lefties in there on their team because like the guy involved, Joe Panic, was lefty, but I think Dickerson's a better player than him. Um, Over his career, Dickerson has hit 282. He's got 124 total homers and an 816 OPS. He was an all-star back in 2017 with Tampa, and then he won a gold glove in left field with the Pirates in 2018. So, like, that's why I would assume he's not just going to DH. Like, he's won a gold glove before. So, um, you know, that's the interesting part about that. We'll see what happens if this means the Jays are going to trade somebody else, one of the other outfielders, or what's going to happen here. And again, obviously, we talked about the Marlins. Like, it's
Yeah.
more
Like,
of a Blue Jays trade, but
but why did Miami make this deal? I mean, so you got Panic, and you said a minor league pitcher to be named later.
yeah.
It's kind of
So I think that like I think the the Marlins aren't like giving up necessarily. I don't think. Like I think Panic is going to fill in at third right now. I'm assuming because Brian Anderson is still out, and he was actually just placed on the 60-day IL a couple weeks ago from the 10. So I think he's going to be out for like at least another month. Um, and Panic has played a lot of third for Toronto. Obviously, he's known for playing second base, but he's played a lot of third base over there last year and this year. You remember him on the Mets too. He played some third
oh
for you
yeah,
guys, I feel like too.
yeah,
Um, and I think he'll probably plug in as the everyday third baseman right now because Anderson's out. I don't even know who's been playing third over there, but like their infield, they still have Aguilar. I mean, that's not a bad infield. They have, if let's say Panic is at third, they have Panic, Rojas, Chisholm, and Aguilar in the infield. Like that's not a bad infield.
decent. Yeah,
And like, listen, Panic has kind of dropped off a little bit. He's a career 268 hitter though. He's a career 711 OPS, and he was a World Series champ. Remember back in 2014, his rookie season.
right.
He was an All-Star the following year, and then he won a Gold Glove the next year. So he's a solid defender. He's won a World Series, so he could probably help out some of the young guys over there in Miami. Even let's say if they try to just trade a lot of guys, if they fall out completely. You never know, though. I don't know. Do you think it's? I feel like it's more lopsided toward Toronto, though. I really do.
Yeah, I don't really like this trade from Miami at all. I mean, yeah,
No,
you're right. Panic's kind of like a stopgap at third base.
right?
A pitcher to be named later tells me it's probably not like a top prospect.
No,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, at least right now, I think Toronto definitely got the better side of this deal.
yeah. And again, I don't think Toronto's done, man. I don't. Obviously, this helps them out a little bit with the
Yeah.
bullpen, but they need starters, like we said. And let's say you send out Grichuk and Gurriel, you get a pitcher. That could happen.
Mm,
So
that's
you send them
interesting.
both out, you can get a pitcher for each of them probably, or if you get some prospects in with each deal too. So we'll see. I think that they tried to open the door to be able to trade other guys to get pitchers. I think that's what they're trying to do here. Not
Mm.
that they don't think Grichuk or Gurriel are good, but they realize the needs that they have. And like I think having a left-handed outfielder to go along with Springer and Hernandez, and if you trade Grichuk or Gurriel, it kind of works out perfectly if you get a pitcher that really helps you guys out, you know. So I think that's the thought process there. But
Yeah, because they'll be deep enough to do it. Yeah, with as far as
yeah,
position players go. Yeah, yeah, definitely want to keep an eye on Toronto the next few
yeah.
weeks.
And hey, I think this was probably the biggest trade so far this
Yeah,
year since the offseason, of course. So you know, I think we'll see some more. We're going to be talking about some big trades the next few weeks, obviously. And deadline day is coming up, man. Probably it's about a month from now. It's July
yeah,
31st. So
it'll
um,
be interesting.
yeah,
Well, that about wraps up for us. We'll be back next week. We'll be enjoying the Subway Series this weekend, but
yeah,
yeah, sounds good. We'll see you guys next week.
yep. See you guys. Have a good 4th of July too.